Welcome to the Nevis newscast for Friday, August 18th, 2023. I am Fredicia Liebert. From July 27th to August 31st, the St. Kitts and Nevis Independence 40 Committee is hosting conversations, reflections, and the way forward. The 7-part interactive discussion series provides an in-depth view of the trials and achievements of the past, and as well as accomplishments, threats, and opportunities of today and in the coming years that will transform the Twin Island Federation into a model sustainable island state. The Thursday, August 17th edition featured Premier of Nevis and Leader of the Opposition in the National Assembly, the Honourable Mark Brantley, former Attorney General Delano Bart, President of the St. Kitts National Youth Parliament Association, Mauriel Knight, and Attorney-at-Law Eustace Nisbet. The topic was constitutional reform.
I suppose because I had the good fortune of being present in the initial stages, well, during the constitutional discussions in London, I'm fortunate to have been there. The idea, as I understood it, and still believe it to be, was that there was a need to find a formula that would make it work for both islands. Prior to that, we have had a history of St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla. And then you had a secession, a revolution, and a unilateral declaration of Anguilla, which then went on its own. So when we got to London, there was a desire to try and see how we could hold the unit together, bearing in mind in particular the size of Nevis and whether it would survive internationally on in the open market, as it were. So that, in a sense, influenced the way that one went forward.
I have often said that it is a document that was created that, if you will, was an ode to the realities of the time and to the conflicts that we knew existed, political conflicts between St. Kitts and Nevis. I think Delano has referred to the situation with Anguilla. And so sometimes with the benefit of hindsight, the criticisms come. But I often try to put myself in the position of those who were there trying to negotiate this document so that we can go into independence in 1983 as we did. And I believe that this was a document of compromise. Nevis clearly needed some assurances. Britain, I think, wanted to get rid of us. And so we needed to craft something which, in the end, is unique. One thing I would agree with is that ultimately it's for us to work this document. I say all the time, if you design the best train in the world and you put bad drivers, it's going to potentially run off the tracks. So we need people who I think are committed, people who understand. We have had this constitution and its limits tested from time to time. As recently, I think, as 2022, we saw it being tested. Some of us, myself included, were not happy with the results of that test, but nevertheless, this is the reality. But I think that the fundamental principles in the Constitution, 40 years on, it is time for us to look afresh and to determine whether or not it's now time to craft a new document that is reflective of the changes that we've seen in terms of our society and our societal norms since independence.
Many other nations around the world, in particular the region, within the region, the islands that are together, we look at Trinidad and Tobago, their construct is nowhere close to ours with the amount of power that has been devolved, so to say, to the Nevis Island. And so when you look at this unique formula that was crafted, I think we see the advantage of us being last in line, the fact that we had so many templates to look at, the fact that we had time to analyze to see what was wrong, what needed to be implemented, and what was the best solution for us. And I think the fact that the Constitution has stood the test of time and has been tested for 40 years and still remains the supreme law of our land just goes to show how stable it has allowed our nation to be thus far. And even now, as we begin to do some introspection and see what could be tweaked, what could be modified, it shows that the framers, they did a very good job, I have to say. And even though there is criticism for the Constitution, we must build upon this and see, going forward, what is the best formula for this new age, this new paradigm of petitions and divisions as we look 40 years beyond and even beyond that time?
At that time, the balance of power remained in St. Kitts, and the authority that the Nevis section had and Anguilla Island had was basically maintenance powers and so forth. So with the introduction of the Constitution, as the Premier said, it gave Nevis some level of autonomy to make some laws and so on, and quite a bit of laws. It's still not perfect, because there are some areas that I believe that the Premier and his predecessors wouldn't have wished that there is some more autonomy that would have been devolved over to Nevis. But be that as it may, it's a work in progress, and it has mean, I believe, quite a bit for the people of Nevis. And I thought I'd just put that in context, historical context, so you could see precisely how important it is for the people.
So far, the discussions have also covered the road to independence, the Buckley's uprising, as well as universal education and Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College. Each edition of Conversations, Reflections, and The Way Forward can be viewed in its entirety on the ZIZ Online YouTube channel. The St. Kitts and Nevis government has approved the hosting of a United States of America embassy in the Federation. This was disclosed by Cabinet Secretary Dr. Marcus Natta during the most recent post-cabinet briefing. He said during the U.S. Caribbean leaders meeting in the Bahamas in June 2023, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris announced that the Biden-Harris administration has begun the process to establish 2 new embassies and an additional diplomatic support presence in the Eastern Caribbean. In this regard, the Cabinet has taken the decision to have St. Kitts and Nevis host a U.S. embassy to strengthen the relationship and partnership with the United States of America. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis will continue to meet regularly with and engage U.S. officials on this subject while they await the decision of the U.S. government. The following is a notice from the Premier's Ministry regarding the temporary closure of the Supreme Court Registry in Charlestown. The Premier's Ministry advises of the closure of the Supreme Court Registry in Charlestown, Nevis, from Friday 18th to Friday 25th August 2023. Persons who require the services of the registry during this period of time may send a message via email to Assistant Registrar Melissa Fleming at melissa.fleming@nia.gov.kn.com, outlining the nature of your business. Still to come, no taxes on the importation of school supplies. The details right after this break.
Taxes are the lifeblood of a nation. Feel good about what your tax dollars do in Nevis. As a responsible citizen, your tax dollars protect our environment. Pay your taxes on time. This message was brought to you by the Inland Revenue Department, Nevis.
Be a responsible citizen.
Welcome back. Representatives of the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services, Police Force, Customs and Excise Department, Red Cross Society, and the Departments of Social Development and Community and Gender Affairs participated in an emergency humanitarian logistics workshop from August 15th to 18th. The workshop was hosted by the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, CDEMA, and the World Food Program in collaboration with the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. The participants were trained in the principles and process for end-to-end supply chain management, which includes needs assessment, sourcing and shipping, warehouse management, distribution, and pest control. Giving remarks at the opening ceremony, retired Major Damaine Brantley, logistics coordinator and training facilitator for the World Food Programme, said there has been an increase in the number of climate-related disasters. The World Food Programme is committed to providing support to the region to ensure resources and skills are available to impacted persons when crises happen. National Disaster Coordinator Abdia Samuel said on the path to building a resilient St. Kitts and Nevis, and by extension the Caribbean region, they have to ensure they maximize on the opportunities to build capacity, as a number of institutions are critical to the supply chain. The Cabinet of the Government of St. Kitts and Nevis has designated 2 days this month, Friday 25th and Saturday 26th August, as the back-to-school discounted VAT rate days in the Federation. On these 2 days, all value-added tax VAT registered businesses will charge VAT at the rate of 5% on the sale of goods only. All tangible items that are currently subject to 17% VAT will qualify for the discount on the VAT rate days. Items eligible must also be available for sale and immediate issuance or delivery to the customer on discounted VAT rate days. In addition, the Federal Cabinet has decided that the same guidelines implemented on the December discounted VAT rate days should be applied to this month's exercise. This means the purchase of vehicles will be subject to the discounted VAT rate on August 25th and 26th. Meantime, the Federal Cabinet of Ministers has also approved temporary concessions on school supplies. No taxes will be charged during the period July 10th to September 30th, 2023. This announcement forms part of the measures that the Government of St. Kitts and Nevis has approved for implementation to ease the financial pressures of households, particularly single-parent households with school-aged children. All importers, commercial and non-commercial, are eligible to participate and benefit from this program. For more details, including the full listing of eligible school supplies and other related inquiries, contact the Customs and Excise Department at 869-466-7227 or visit the department's website, skncustoms.com. That's it for this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, I'm Freddie Liber. Thank you for viewing.